Am I right? You're not appealing the decision on Friday, but now what to do to make sure the integrity of the Matric result overall is still intact?
Good morning, sir, and good morning to your listeners. Yes, indeed, we do not intend to appeal, so that's why we've already communicated with learners that there won't be a rewrite. That message is very clear. Whilst we appreciate that the court dealt with a very complex and vexing issue within very unreasonable time frames, and maybe that's why some of these issues that we are raising were not dealt with at all. You're absolutely right. The issue of the integrity, the credibility, the reliability and the fairness of the exams, unfortunately, was not dealt with the court. And usually, when a matter of this nature is before us as Department of Basic Education and Umalusi, Basic Education is expected to conduct an investigation. Once we are done with the investigation, we present a report to Umalusi before the results are released.
Yeah.
The key question that we have to answer is whether we know the extent of the leak. If we know the extent of the leak, what have we done about it? In the past, we knew the extent of the leak. We knew the areas that were involved. We knew the learners that were involved will block their results. This time around, we don't know the extent of the leak. The only information that we have is learners that we could track. But as we continue to investigate, more information surfaces.
DG, what about the criticism, though, that in a sense this was the department's own failure? In terms of the consequence management of this type of thing, we've seen it happen all too often without severe punishment for those who are found guilty for being involved in it. But also, you say we don't know the extent of the spread of the leak, but we know that a lot of this information was sent electronically, and you can at least prove those that were able to receive this information and were able, therefore, to disseminate it. Maybe you won't catch all of them, but there was never going to be any point in obviously punishing all nearly 400,000 learners who wrote the exam when you have an idea that most of them would not have had access to this paper, but that perhaps if you made a strong enough example of those you can identify, this might prevent such from happening again.
Well, large-scale, high-stake exams do experience exam leaks all over the world. Malawi, they've cancelled their exams. They are rewriting as we speak now. France has experienced that. Singapore has experienced that. The list is endless.
Sure, but it's not the norm, though, DG. It's not something that you may have examples where that has happened. You certainly don't have a lot of those countries having it happen repeatedly. And then I know it's not the same scale, but we look at, say, the IEB, for example. That's never leaked. And I know it's not the same scale as what the national paper, a senior certificate paper, looks like. But there are examples where this shouldn't be a norm we accept.
Yeah, no, IEB, you know that you're talking about 12,000 learners as opposed to 1,100,000 learners. You're comparing those two. I'm not sure whether you can compare that. Let's look at what we did when it happened. In Limpopo in 2016, when it happened, we went on an investigation. We involved Hawks. People went to court. They were dealt with. Learners who were involved, those who were actively involved in passing it on, their results were blocked, and some of them were barred from writing exams. The whole district was subjected to a rewrite, which is what the court didn't allow us to do this time. And by the way, it was only 20 learners, 19 circuits. We blocked the results of those that we could pick up. They were actively involved, and we got the whole district to rewrite. This time, we're not allowed to do that.
Is there any possibility, sorry to interrupt you there, DG, is there any possibility that the class of 2020 might find themselves stranded come February or whenever next year the result ought to be coming out?
Well, I don't know, because if I have to answer that question, I'll then be second-guessing Umalusi. I can tell you what we are going to do.
Right.
We're going to present a report which will reflect the work that we would have done. That we are going to do. We are working towards doing that. But I can tell you now, we will not be able to vouch for the extent of the leak. And that is going to be a problem, because if you are unable to then indicate clearly on the extent of the leak, then it becomes a problem to then say the results are credible, reliable, and fair. You can't vouch on the integrity of those results. That's what we will do. We will continue with the investigation, present a report of the work that we would have done, the extent to which we've been able to track learners, as to how many learners received the paper, how many benefited from the paper, will only go insofar as we're able to do that. The rest we won't be able to do.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions,
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.